forward. Good morning. It's yet again Texas Power Up and May 7th, which means Mother's Day is this weekend. If you're not tracking for that, please do. Uh, and if you were at the event last week, I'm curious, is anyone still feeling excited and happy from last week? Or is it just me? I'm the only one that was. Oh, it's just me. Oh, okay. Nobody else. Nobody
I'm
else.
still tired, and I think half of us, I don't know, some of us came back with the cold and we haven't been able to shake it. So that's why I'm
Oh,
tired, but I can power through
not
it.
fun. Not fun. Not fun.
It
Well,
was awesome. I did all
it
over
was
again.
it was awesome. I'll give the room 30 seconds if you've got anything to shout out, any announcements that we all need to know about, or any gratitude that you want to share. Kevin, yes, sir. I almost called you Brian.
Oh, well, he's a good friend, so no worries. Yeah, I have an announcement for this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're going to have our first monthly Place Military Mastermind call. And I get asked this all the time. Do you have to be a veteran, a spouse of a veteran, a family member of a veteran, or active duty to be a part of Place Military? The answer is no. You just have to be a part of our world, and you want to get better at serving your local military community. So I'll drop the Zoom link in the comments. It's, again, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're going to go over a lot of stuff, and we're going to set up a really awesome community as far as Place Military goes. So
I
hope to see
love
y'all
it.
there.
Let's do it. That's perfect. Drop the link. Michaela, good morning. Good to see you. I saw you in passing.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. I have two shout outs today. One for Miss Elizabeth Gassos, who just closed a $2.4 million commercial portfolio. It was like 27, I think, yeah, 27
Wow.
properties, rental properties, and it was a fight. It was an absolute fight. It was listed forever, but she got it done. She and Michael Wilson absolutely brought it home. And yeah, they got paid and she has been celebrating, hopefully. So, that is the first one. And the second one is for Dana Rainey, who I believe happened yesterday, closed a fat deal, fingers crossed. It was 3.9 million or
Oh,
so, which is her biggest deal. Also, might be the biggest residential deal on our team as well. So just big congratulations to her as well. So just big
oh,
deal
those
for
are good.
everyone.
Well, thank you for setting that up so well, Michaela. How fun is that?
Well,
Um,
I want to shout out someone.
okay.
Abby on my I don't know how to raise my hand in Zoom, so I just had to blurt in. So Abby on my team, she just completed launch and had her first closing. So those are like two big milestones, and I am super proud of her.
Abby, great work. Glad to hear it. I love that. I know there's a few agents on this call that are in launch. I love the story of Abby because she is brand new, and I love the story of Dana, who's years into this and still has cool milestones. So awesome, awesome. Well, I'm gonna continue this girls club if you guys are totally cool with it. I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight Miss Dana for you. I mean, how perfect was that setup? Thank you, Michaela. So guys, we had an awesome week. It was so good. And if you weren't at the last winners event, don't worry, we got another one coming up. Um, we're either sick from a cold or we're still on the event high. Take your pick. We have two of our top Texas leaders this morning. We're going to start with Dana and we're going to go to Mary. They're going to share on a couple topics that they're seeing right now. I'm going to keep us moving. And when we've got about 5 minutes at the end, I'm just going to say, hey, anybody got questions? So, Dana, 30-second version of you. What do you want to tell us?
Man, I didn't realize I've been in the business 15 years this month. 15 years. I don't feel old enough to be able to say that, but I work the Southern DFW Metroplex. So like I grew up in the Waxahachie. I now live at Richland Chambers Lake. Those are about an hour apart. So I kind of feel like I have two businesses. So Ellis County, Navarro County, that's me. Um, I got into this business right out of college. and I was 21 years old, I guess, and living at home with my dad. And that was a big limiting belief. Like, how am I supposed to sell houses when I still live at home and haven't bought one?
How about that? That is so true. Um, you've made it out okay. Obviously, you just closed at 3.9 million. We're super excited for you. Um, one of your superpowers is how you're able to start conversations, build relationships, and I think agents hesitate to ask hard questions. Not sure why. Maybe they feel like they're prying. You see it completely differently. Walk me through that.
Well, I used to feel like I was prying, so that was very much a belief that I used to have. But I walked into a few situations where I wasn't prepared, and if I asked harder questions or more questions, I wouldn't have had that feeling. I would have known more what I was walking into. So that was just a hard lesson learned. So I guess the reason I do it or how I'm able to do it is I remember how that feel, and I truly believe that asking more questions helps me um, better understand their circumstances and just solve the problem, whatever the problem is. And so that I think it's just truly believing and knowing that if I know more, I can help them more accurately. I don't like to walk into a situation unprepared.
Okay, everybody write that down. If I know more, I can help them more. If I know more, I can help them more. Okay, example of maybe question or questions that maybe other people don't think to ask, or like what does it sound like in real life?
So, like, if a seller is telling you and they're wanting to sell and you're like, okay, cool, what's prompting you to want to sell or need to sell? They're like, I'm just downsizing. Well, where my head first goes is, well, are they downsizing for a smaller house or do they need a smaller payment? Because those are two very different where
Okay,
you
so
take
it's
it.
not just asking the question, it's asking the why behind their answer.
And then taking it like a few more levels. But why? But why? But why? So I'm just the annoying kid in my head that's like, but why? But why? But why?
Okay, how do you make that not sound like an interrogation?
Um, well, what has you needing to downsize? What has you thinking about downsizing is where I would take that.
Okay, we've got stairs, Dana, and we just can't do stairs anymore.
Gotcha. Okay. So the house could actually be the same size, but if it was just a single story, that would fit your needs.
Oh, I don't know that I want to clean this much house either.
Awesome. Well, in your mind, like what is the um perfect size house? Where do we need to cut the space?
I don't need a media room anymore. I really don't want a big yard anymore. Um,
What
things like that. Not too many bathrooms to clean.
what's your definition of a big yard? Like what do you want to stay under? And I
Uh,
crack jokes in there in the meantime, because what are you gonna say?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so you guys get the point, right? Like you heard that? Like it wasn't like initially when she said, um, we're downsizing. I mean, he thought, great, smaller house. And the superpower that Dana has is every answer that they gave, she had a follow-up question, not to be annoying. If you know Dana in real life, she is anything but annoying. She's pretty awesome, actually. Uh, okay, I see. And your tone is very friendly, and you crack jokes. Is that like your energy, like level with all clients, or some clients, or what's the deal?
If they're uncomfortable, if they're like feeling like I'm drilling them, then I'm gonna definitely crack some jokes. But if it's also like a high C person who's just like monotone and giving me straight answers, well, they're probably a little bit like me, just like let me give you the answers and keep going kind of thing. So I'm gonna read their energy a little bit.
I like that. I like that. You mentioned something that I really loved yesterday. Actually, I was telling my team, and we were excited about it. You can stay calm even when, in your words, you are pissed as hell.
That was
Uh,
Sarissa's words.
I love it. What's actually happening in your head when that happens? Because I know we all have clients that we're just like, they're like children sometimes. So what's happening in your head, and like, how do you handle that when you are pissed as hell?
Well, sometimes I put the phone on mute and then like let somebody else around me have it. Like, oh my God, what are they doing? Like, just flip out for a second. But in the same breath, I'm also like, why are they flipping out? Is it a misunderstanding? Because I'm going to say about half the time they just don't know. Um, yeah, I put them on mute. Most of the time, they don't know our lingo. So are they just pissed because they don't understand or don't know what to expect or know what the next step is? Or is something really bad going wrong that we need to ask why and dig deeper and solve? So if you get all mad with them, then they usually match your energy and end up more mad. But if and don't say calm down to somebody pissed off on the other end, like that doesn't work either. And so I'm always something along the lines of, well, tell me what's happening. And when you just dig deeper into what's going on, it tends to help calm them down.
When whether it's in that situation or other situations and you keep getting vague answers, like is there a way to push deeper and to get the real answer without them being defensive? Because there's not everybody's forthcoming. What do you do when they're not forthcoming?
I'll point blank tell them like, well, it sounds like something else is going on, and or something along those lines, and shut up, like, and listen to their answer. Um, when you start talking, then they're less likely to talk. But if you ask a probing question, an open-ended probing question, and be quiet, they usually open up, and then sometimes just point blank telling them like something's going on. Like when you have a seller mad that their house hasn't sold and they're putting some pressure on you, and you don't know that they're moving out of like they're moving out of state, but you don't know that their close date up there got pushed up and like all that pressure is now coming over here. Well, they got to tell you that sort of stuff, and sometimes they don't. So just I truly digging into the why behind everything helps tremendously in this business.
Where do you get the confidence for that? Because sometimes when we ask probing questions, we can feel like we're imposing. We can feel like, I don't know that it's really our business. Like, I don't know that a lot of people are comfortable asking more than a couple layers deep. And sometimes we don't really want to lose the deal. It almost feels like everything's going okay. They gave me a good answer. Let me just get to them to sign.
I think it's truly knowing and kind of like believing your value proposition. This is truly believing your value proposition, knowing that if I know more details, I can more accurately help them. And again, I don't like to walk into a situation unprepared. And the more questions I know, the more prepared that I am. And then I show up better. They're happier. They tend to net more money or get a better deal. And it's just believing in you and knowing the situation helps.
Is there any question that you ask earlier in like a buyer or a seller consult that you think other people might skip or
So the one that drives me nuts is like when a buyer's like, "Okay, I've got to be in a home by May, or my lease is up in May." Okay, and like I'm gonna say, how many agents just stop right there when they're digging into time frame? Well,
80%?
yeah, I'm gonna say, well, are we talking May 1st or May 30th? Two very different answers. And then, cool. Are you going to month lease after that? Or do you have to be out? Like, is this our hard deadline? We have to be out May 1st. No ifs, ands, or buts. So not only did I need to know the time of the month, but like, do we even have a backup plan for um, a month to month and that sort of thing?
I love that. Um, we just heard you close at $3.9 million. Congrats.
Thank you.
You have a great year every year though. Like you're out in Waxahachie. If I don't even know if I said it right. Uh,
Waxahachie.
Waxahachie, okay. Great price point out there, right? Like I remember selling like $100,000 homes, which you guys are nowhere near that. You guys are nice. It doesn't sound like what you're selling is just pure luck, right? Like 3.9 million, there's probably not a million of them up there. But you still sell 10 million plus every year. It doesn't sound like luck. It sounds like your database. How long before your dials actually start paying off?
It took some time. Um, I remember being a couple months into this, and I'm a big fan of fake it till you make it. I was 21 in this world, living at home with my dad. And so my friends are like all starting to graduate from college and lease houses. So I had lease leads and I was just ecstatic. So I remember one of my first couple months, I closed 4 leases. And so then people around town, like, it helps being from the town and having a spear and whatnot. But I'd see people, and they knew I graduated college. And I do, let me back this up. I do think a lot of success came from uh, graduating college, telling people what my goals were, like telling people I'm getting into real estate. So then when I did see them, they'd ask, well, how's it going? Cool, I just closed 4 deals. They didn't know it was stupid leases and that it was like a $200 paycheck. But hell, 10, 15 years ago, that was kind of a big thing. I remember the 4 leases added up to like $1,000 and that felt like big money back then. But telling people your goals and talking to people helped hold you accountable.
It's interesting. I hear you speak, and I just texted someone. And I said, "Wow, man, she's really good." Like I know you as a friend, Dana, but it's really cool to hear you as a professional. And this person said, "Yeah, you're really smart and real and very low ego." Which I think is an interesting thing because you've been doing this for 15 years, Dana. It's not like today's your first rodeo selling real estate. Like, how do you keep your ego low? That's not even on cue. And for everyone following along, we're gonna push Mary to a following week because I want to dig deeper with you, Dana.
Oh goodness.
Keep this ego low because you're pretty successful.
Um, that's a good question. Like even on the $4 million deal that we signed yesterday, it's not funding until Friday. So I'm still kind of like, oh goodness, like anything can happen. Um, but like I don't like not humble people, so I don't want to be the arrogant person. So I think um, knowing the kind of people you like to be around tends to help. And I'm a very self-aware person. Like even my doctors and things like that, they're like, you're very self-aware. It's like, yes, that's a talent that I have.
I love that. What do you do? You're big into open houses. What do you actually do at an open house that maybe, sometimes when you get that tire kicker that comes in, how do you turn that into a database deal? Maybe like 18 months from now.
I think the key to that is asking good questions in front of them while you have them at the open house. When they're like, oh, we're not ready. We're gonna buy another year or two. Cool. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, are they saving for a down payment? Because if you found and like you have to put all of this in brevity, all the notes. Because if they're just simply like they need cash, well, the hard question to ask then is, well, do you have anything saved? Like asking somebody about their money, that's the hardest one. But if you say it with confidence and it just flows right out, they usually answer. And I'm going to say about half the time they have more money than they need. They just think that they need a whole bunch. Like if I have a buyer that's wanting to buy a $300,000 house and they have $10,000 in their pocket, like I can make that work. So it's asking those questions, but also asking what are they looking for in a house? What do they like? What do they not like? And building the rapport in person, that's the most important thing. So then when you follow up with them 14 times over the next year and a half, you know a little bit more about them. And then as you're following up with them over time, taking really good notes so you can follow up the next time and the next time. Well, they originally told me at the open house that they're okay with a smaller yard, but every time I talk to them and all they're looking at is houses on 1 acre. So I'm gonna dig into like, hey, has this changed, or do you really want a house on an acre? Like, let me know and I can help you find that kind of thing.
I feel like, and I've been to agents' open houses, I feel like the win for most people is just getting their contact information. Like, there is a tendency to not want to ask too many questions because you become overbearing. Like, this is like the mindset, right? But if I just get their contact information, then I can just follow up later.
No, they're gonna ignore you or give you wrong info.
Okay. Okay.
But they're in front of you. That's a stronger than a paid internet lead. They're in front of you. They're spending time on a Saturday to walk in some random house. Um, take that as the opportunity to connect with them. And if I have three people all walk in at the same time, I'm going to flock to the one I connect with the most. Like I'm going to get the other people's information, and but rather than have three shallow conversations, I'm going to have probably one more in-depth conversation.
When you sit down to make dials in your database, what's your mindset going into that? Like, are you trying to get an appointment that day? Are you trying to do something else? Like, what's going to happen when you get on the dialer later?
So getting on the dialer can sometimes feel real heavy, and sometimes you leave feeling not like a win. So like you didn't set any appointments, so sometimes you feel like, oh, that I didn't have any wins. But when you build the database, and I'm going to back this up to some of the things that can contribute to success early is like I got into real estate and I didn't go into it with a backup plan, and I'm the person with the backup plan for a backup plan, but I just went into it with the mindset of this is gonna work. Um, so that carried over into how I showed up in my business. So when I'm calling through the dialer or calling through people or whatnot, and say that, yeah, they want me to send them houses. So they're like, yeah, send me some houses or whatnot. Cool. Let me verify your email address instead of just assuming that they gave me the right one. Or say I finally get somebody on the phone, but there's no email address. And so I add the email address. Well, that's a win in itself. You've got a little bit closer to they opened up. They're more likely to use you later down the road, sort of thing. So I think just knowing that building the database is one step closer to helping someone. And that's a win in itself when you're building the database and you're in this for the long game.
So, what I'm hearing is you can't have a closing without a relationship, and the relationship is built over time.
Yeah.
Um, on that topic, how do you track and nurture someone who tells you that they're not ready for 12 months? Like, what does that actually look like for the next 12 months?
Well, I prep them. I always like to tell a buyer, if it's a buyer, talk to them a little more about what do they think that they're going to want. And then I say, "Hey, I'm going to set you up on a listing alert. And if they're not going to buy for 18 months, I might not have it come to them daily, but maybe weekly, and tell them like, "Hey, I want you to watch what's coming on the market because when you do get closer to being ready to buy, if you've been watching the market for the last year, you're going to feel a whole lot more prepared. So that way, if the perfect house pops up the second that you're ready, you don't feel like, oh, I'm just bought the first house that I ever went and looked at. No, you've been looking at 100 houses for a whole year. Like you're going to feel a whole lot more prepared. And I direct like that's the tone, and that's exactly what I tell them.
I just wrote that down. Sorry, I don't know why my caps lock is on.
I thought you
You've
were
been,
yelling at me.
no. You've been looking at 100 houses, and that's so true, right? So like the pressure for them to like have to go see 30 in person is not there in the same way. Um, Obviously, we're all chasing pendings and under contracts. But what's something that tells you that maybe your dials in your database or your open houses are working before the deal actually shows up? How do you know this is all working?
When you end up on the phone for more than a minute at a time, when you have some good connections. Because like you can count a contact, not a dial, but a contact. Well, a contact sometimes is, oh, I'm not interested, and they like is a 30-second conversation. When I am behind on my dials because I had in-depth conversations, that I walk away feeling like that's a win, even though I'm behind.
Last question, and then you guys, if you have questions, keep them front of mind. For an agent doing lots of deals like you, Dana, who doesn't have time to get into their database consistently, what would you tell them? What's going wrong or what's going right? Or what do you like, what's your message to strong producers in the room
So
today?
I want you to know I am not perfect at this at all, and this is
Oh man.
I've got a lot of room for improvement here. However, when you get busy, the lead follow up to me is the first thing that falls off. Um,
Yep.
and so and you get after you have like a sphere that's pretty established, like you sometimes get leads or people say stuff and you're out and about And like if I don't write it down or email it to myself or text to myself or put it in the notes, I don't think about it till a week later when I'm in the shower, and then by the time I'm out of the shower, I still don't think about it, and so then the ball gets dropped. So the key is lead follow up, and like when you're in the car, talk on the dang phone to somebody. Like simply, like just we're in the communication business. Just talk to somebody on the phone. But
I
more
love
importantly, like don't get mad at yourself because you're not lead generating. Get mad at yourself because you're not lead follow up.
get mad at yourself because you're not following up. Yeah, they're dying in there. They're dying. Questions. Hands up for questions. We've got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. If anybody's got any questions for Dana, while everybody's thinking, where'd your $4 million deal come from?
My husband's family that I didn't even know existed. Like, let me tell you. So, whenever they called, and this was one appointment that I didn't like totally pre-qual. They told me it's a like over 3,000 square foot new house with a lot of upgrades, and it's on 47 acres. So I knew going into this was like a two-step listing appointment. There's not going to be very many comps. I need to like go and look at this house, and then I'll come back a second time and we'll talk numbers. So as I'm pulling up in the country, there's this white house on a hill, pretty like newish house, and I'm like, oh, that's a very pretty house. And then I like get on further down the road and come around the corner and see a driveway, and I'm like, holy moly, this is my listing where I'm going. I had no idea. And then like I was pretty fired up about that one.
That's really awesome. Chip wants to know, who is the awesome hunter in your family? Do you like hunting for buyers, sellers, or deer more?
So I'm a professional house hunter by day and a night critter by night is like what I'll say. My husband and I are both avid hunters, and we constantly argue over whose turn it is. Like, or we're going to South Africa in 6 weeks, and we have our list of what we want, and we're constantly like, well, this is Dana's and this is Ross's, and I like so there's a constant battle there.
I love
What
a
was the
good
rest of the question?
Do you like hunting for buyers, sellers, or deer more?
Ah, I'm a pretty avid shotgun shooter, so that is like my big hobby, and I'm gonna say I like hunting for sellers for sure.
I like that. I think what stands out to me, guys, is Dana has awesome energy. And I think if you didn't listen to Brendan's call yesterday, it was such a good call. If you skipped it because it was health and you don't want to hear another thing about working out and sleeping right, that wasn't it. By the way, go back to it. It was a top three. And you have great energy, Dana.
Thank
You have
you.
action. You have action. It's awesome. I love to see it. For everyone who has maybe contact information, pop it in, Dana. For everyone who hasn't signed up for the I'm gonna call it the winners event. It's a production challenge. Feel free to do that. Go to our place. First of all, get you some stock. I'm gonna wrap this up with if you weren't at the winners event, a couple things you need to know. We closed Series B funding. The company is now valued at over $3 billion. That's B like billion. That's major. If you ever want to Google something fun to Google is how many companies have ever IPO'd, gone public, as a unicorn company, as a $1 billion company, and it's not a lot. It's like maybe like 100. If you like to Google, how many do not have any debt, because Place does not have any debt. It's like less than 60. You are in good company here. Overarching, you're in good company. Look at Dana, you're in good company. Everybody in this room, all 78 of you that were in this room this morning, you're in good company. And IPO is just the first step, right? It's the opportunity to create a lot of millionaires in this room and within our company. And we don't want to IPO tomorrow, because if we do, most of you guys don't have enough stock. So I want to make sure you guys get enough stock so that it changes your life, not just a few people's lives, right? But it's going to be great. And then once we IPO, baby, let's double and triple and 10x the company. So I'm excited for that. I'm so glad you're here. We're not going to be here next week because I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be on a flight, and it's like a 6:30 a.m. flight, which means like I'm going to be up at 4 a.m., which sounds terrible if you know me. So I'm not going to see you next week, but I'll see you the following week. Can't wait to see you. Have an awesome one. Bye, guys. Dana's contact is right there. Thanks, Dana. Appreciate you.
Thank
Mary,
you.
hear from you next time. Bye, guys.